Hi Scorpio, welcome to your August 2020 love reading. It's Rena here, and I want to tell you something. I just laid out a set of cards using my typical spread, and then I'm like, oh, wait a second, this is not what I'm doing this month. I actually created a spread on the fly, and I've been doing that, and I've been really enjoying using this for this love reading, so I just collected all the cards. I don't even know what most of the cards were, so I'm just letting you know that I'm redoing this using the spread that I've been using for the other signs. And this deck is the Ethereal Tarot deck, and as you will see, there's like very romantic images, but they're very faithful to the Rider-Waite deck, and I think this is how I found out about this deck, because I was just like looking it up online. I wanted another deck, but I wanted one that wasn't going to deviate from the traditional images too much, and this one doesn't. But and yet it still has its own variation, and sometimes you just want to work with other images. It's just kind of like variety is the spice of life type of deal. But this is perfect excuse me, for love readings, because it's like an Art Nouveau type of style. I think I kept saying Art Deco. I meant Art Nouveau. And this was at the turn of the century, meaning the 1900s. Probably the tail end of the Victorian age, because it has that kind of thing going on. I don't know how long that particular artistic period lasted, but in any case, I hope that you enjoy this. I've used these before. This isn't the first time I've used them, and I'll tell you what each position means when I get there. Okay, maybe well, I can do this. These have very good cardstock, by the way, which is so nice when you're working with cards, because when, there's just something that doesn't feel right when cards are flimsy, and these are very nice, and you can hold them very nicely. Okay, here we go. And this is the back of them. For those of you Scorpios who have Venus in Libra and are very or the moon in Libra, very interested in the aesthetics of something. But anyway, the matter at hand is the Strength card. Oh, and this reading is for people who are single or are in relationships that are not working the way they should. Doesn't mean that they're just completely unsalvageable, though. I want to make that clear. So the Strength card is the matter at hand. The Strength card connects to Leo. If you are involved with somebody who's a Leo, I did a podcast type of audio video that I have on YouTube. You can check that out, about the the relationship between Leo and Scorpio. But the Strength card for somebody who has been, who is currently in a relationship, can mean that you've had to really deal with a lot, maybe a lot of nonsense, maybe a very traumatic event, the death of a child, the death of a parent, the loss of a job of one of you, and that has created a strain in the relationship. And you've had to kind of just, be as strong as you can be. And maybe this, that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Maybe that is coming in right about now. Dealing with somebody's addiction, problems, infidelity, whatever it is. But even if it hasn't done you in, and even if you feel like you have resiliency, there's that resilience. The point is that it doesn't mean that you should stay in that relationship either. So I have to say this whenever I'm dealing with a fixed sign like Scorpio, because your first inclination might be just to, like, you know, keep on keeping on, and yet you might not realize that this is not a good situation. So even though I think some situations can be salvaged, I also think that some need to fall by the wayside. Only you know where you're at. And this might be that your partner has some kind of illness, and that has, you know, threatened to, you know, sap your energy trying to take care of them. You know, there are all kinds of possibilities here. If you're single, perhaps you have become more confident within yourself, and that has allowed you to, I don't know, be alone. I think Scorpio is one of the most powerful signs if we're looking at it from sheer fortitude. However, I also believe that Scorpio is a sign that their Achilles heel might be in love relationships. That might be the one area that you tend to find yourself very vulnerable. And one reason is the fear of losing that person, either having trauma connected to death and not wanting to feel that sense of abandonment, whether it was like intentional, death is not intentional abandonment or not, or if you're just afraid of being betrayed for some reason. That can lead you to, ironically, be more vulnerable, because if you don't fear something, it doesn't have power over you. But this may be the one thing that you fear. So, yeah, definitely, this is at the centerpiece. How have you gotten there? What was the past position? 3 of Wands in reverse. Again, fire energy. So this may be that other person who you realize is not good for you. This, the 3 of Wands in the upright position, I'll show you what the card looks like. You can't really see it when it's reversed. The person is looking out. It's kind of that expansive view, and it's about expansion. If you're involved in a relationship with someone who is too controlling, maybe they have an addiction or some kind of a thing, it may have had a negative impact on you where you feel like your life is narrowing. Maybe you have focused too much on them and not enough on yourself. And that has to change for you to fully be who you came here to be. Esther Hicks, Law of Attraction, says that the purpose of life is for expansion. That resonates with me. I can only say that for me. I don't know what your philosophy is of life, but that resonates with me. And any time that we find ourselves in a relationship where the other person is too controlling and they're trying to tell us that we can't do certain things, that we think are good for us, and they don't. And maybe they're limiting our contact with other people. That's another red flag. And we see our world becoming more and more narrow. That is a time to really look at that and see if perhaps you have allowed somebody to control you. Even if you swore to yourself you'd never let that happen, it somehow did. And it's good to be able to admit that to yourself so that you can move on with your life and have what you deserve in life, the good that you deserve. And for somebody who is single, maybe you've had to recover from something and you've kind of kept yourself out of circulation. Certainly, world events lately have kept a lot of us in a state of restriction of one sort or another. So that's not out of the norm for any of us. Now, how can you achieve this desire for a new relationship? Or if you still love your partner and they are not necessarily controlling, but you have been going through a rough patch, and even good relationships can have challenging times. You know, that's important to know. I don't think I have to tell that to Scorpios. I think that you are willing and able to accept that as a possibility. But this is the Fool card, and this is about embarking on a new adventure. For Scorpio, being that you are a fixed water sign, what this would entail is that you would have to actively pursue things in life that take you out of your comfort zone, out of that rut or routine that fixed signs tend to kind of gravitate to. I have Taurus rising. So even though my sun is in Sagittarius, and, you know, I love that idea of doing different things and, you know, stretching myself, there's still that part that is very in love with the familiar. And so I totally get it. And you have to be able to embrace, you know, the new, and also to tell yourself, kind of like a blank slate. This is the 0 numerologically, which is the unknown quantity or quality. And that means that you're not operating with this sense of the past kind of coming in to interfere with whatever it is that you're trying to do. In other words, you're trying to create a whole new life, a whole new phase in your life. And that means this card, let me just bring this card up again, because it doesn't, oh yeah, I think it does have like a knapsack. Yes, it's a little bit different, which I like because it gives you different images. But it's, the person has like a little satchel. And in the Rider-Waite deck, I think it's like a little pack on their back. And in this deck, it looks like, you know, it's at the edge of the cliff and they're not looking down. So it's trying to kind of symbolize this carefree, you know, attitude of adventure, but also at the same time, you know, reminding people that they have to look where they leap, that they can't be too head in the clouds. But still, they want to experience new things. They don't want to be too cautious. And so a Scorpio has to be willing to do that. And maybe that means if you have a certain type of person that you're attracted to, but you have a bad track record with that type of individual, that you need to consider other types of people. Maybe this is bigger than a love a love situation. Maybe this has to do with your life in general, and you've gotten into a rut in general, and you need to shake things up and even relocate or something along those lines. It's going to be different for each person, but that idea of traveling light, that satchel that's very small, represents, you know, not bringing your emotional baggage with you, not bringing those past experiences with you that can make it so that you keep repeating things, that there's a pattern that keeps repeating itself, based on a tendency to not let go of the past and to project it onto a person. The influences around you that may be influencing the situation. So a person, place, or thing. You notice the gilded edges. Oh, I love that. Or little flourishes. Oh, I really like this depiction of the World card. I really do. So this is a card that I think is actually kind of scorpionic because I believe it is connected to Pluto. Don't quote me on that, but I think it is. Which is really this idea of karma. And you could say karmic justice, but it's really not the justice card, the judgment card. But we do have that sense of cosmic justice when we think of, the biblical sense of, people will be judged, the sinners will be judged. I can see as things coming in. It depends on what you have put out there in life, coming to you as cause and effect. So maybe that is what is swirling around you, is the effect of the things that you've put out, reaping what you have sowed. But that doesn't have to be bad, does it? If you've been good to others, if you've shown affection to somebody, maybe that person will contact you if it's somebody that you're interested in. But perhaps it wasn't the right time for that. We are still in a Mercury retrograde as I record this, so some of you may be listening during this as well, and that's important because, or watching I should say, because perhaps you will hear from somebody from your past, or maybe you've already heard from them, even when we had the Venus retrograde. And this can also bring up the subject of judgment. How does this play into your decision making? Also, yes, I was kind of like just searching for the true meaning of this card, but I think for people who are currently in a relationship, maybe this has to do with a legal judgment. So whether this has caused your relationship to really fall apart because there has been some kind of a lawsuit and that has been problematic, and now you're finally going to get the judgment. It could be an inheritance or whatever. The point is that the judgment card can indicate that things are going to be settled and then the stress will be off. Either way, even if it's something that doesn't necessarily go in your favor, although this is in the upright position, so we could possibly think that it will go in the way that you're looking for. Who knows, but the other thing too is maybe you're getting the Strength card if you're going through a divorce, and it's taking everything you've got, Scorpio, to just keep it together, because it might not have been something that you really wanted. Even if you initiated it, you may have wanted to do anything but this, but you feel that it's what needs to be done. Then the Judgment card can be, this is going to be the release. This is going to be your rebirth, because this is a rebirth. The Judgment card is connected to maybe going through the fire and then having that rebirth. The outcome is the Six of Swords, a card of relocation. Maybe that's why I mentioned it, because I had drawn it. But the Fool and the Six of Swords, you might be moving to a new physical location. This is a card of getting away from the drama. So if there's some kind of a drama in a relationship that has required your strength, in that video that I did specifically with Leo and Scorpio, I think I titled it Drama or Passion, because certainly with those two signs you can have either one or maybe both, depending on what time you're dealing with. But just the idea that you choose peace. You might say, well, anybody would choose peace, but sometimes people, especially a Scorpio, might be kind of attracted to a relationship which is very full of drama, because it kind of brings out in them that purging effect of wanting to bring out all of I could say, the stuff that's kind of within you that is very hidden and needing of seeing the light of day. And it's kind of that purging effect that comes from dealing with something very emotional, but in a triggering sort of way. So who knows? I mean, we never know why we're doing something fully. Well, sometimes, maybe I shouldn't say never, but sometimes we might not know why we're attracted to a certain person. And there might actually be a good reason, even if it seems like a match made in hell. If you are single, this may mean that relocation is might be the place where you meet your soulmate. You never know. It also can mean a relationship with somebody who is an air sign. And actually, I don't know if this would have any validity, but I would associate Libra with this sign, because I think that, well, the number 6 is connected with Venus. So with the swords are the air signs, which are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Aquarius is a fixed sign like yours, and that might be the sign that you find yourself typically attracted to. So in any case, that's what I have for you, Scorpio, and I hope that this was, that resonated with you. And if you'd like a private reading, please check out my offerings at rainamoonastrology.com. The link is below. Take care. Bye.